Welcome to the What's Your Weird Story podcast.
Everyone has at least one good story.
And some of us have stories that are just to the left of normal.
We're interested in the ones that push the boundaries of what we can perceive.
Stories that defy explanations.
Stories with an air of mystery.
Stories we might not share
for fear of being thought of differently.
But don't worry, we're all friends here. So, what's your weird story?
Hello, Weirdsville. How are you? Hope you're doing well. It's the summertime. We are in the full swing of summer. I am your host, Barry Johnston. You're listening to the What's Your Weird Story podcast. With me, as always, my best friend, Mr. Adam Beebe. How are you, sir?
I am doing all right. I am enjoying the relatively mild summer so far up here. And, yeah, man, just, plugging along, trying to keep my head above water just like everybody else.
Yep.
And, just enjoying the summer vibes.
Yes. Yeah, it is. We are getting into the swing of it here in the summertime, and it's been a weird summer, of course, because of the weird shit that's gone on with COVID, but we're trying to make the most of it. They started with my kids. They started summer basketball back up, which is good. We were able to play a little bit, which is good. But we're still up in the air about how the school year is going to happen. They're still trying to figure that out, and they're talking about doing, some online stuff. Maybe you do half online, half at school. It's weird, man. It's just a weird time. So
yeah, but we'll see as that stuff develops over the summer. What the fall will bring us. But I'm here to declare, Barry, that this is the at least for me, this is the summer of ska.
Yes.
Now I'm not I like ska. Yeah, I've never been a big ska fan. I've never been a rude boy or part of the two-tone army.
Right.
But, summer is always, for me, my musical taste kind of changes with the seasons,
Yeah.
I'm sure you kind of maybe feel that. I'm sure a lot of people feel that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So summertime is very fun, very energy, a lot of like punk rock and even some like classic rock and so a lot of rock, really.
Yes.
But, a lot of bouncy stuff.
Yes.
And dude, what's more bouncy than some punk rock and some reggae influenced?
100%, man. 100%. It's crazy because it was a huge thing. Of course, you and I grew up in a time when the third wave. I think the real last music revolution was in our prime. So we were exposed to a lot of great music, but during that time, ska was a very, very big portion of the genre of punk rock, and no funner show to go to than a ska show. Or a bill with a great ska band, and I saw a lot of them, man. And Less Than Jake was they still play. It was hugely influential band, and just great guys, and Real Big Fish, all those bands, man.
Man, Pie Tasters, and of course Mighty Boss Stones.
Oh, dude, so
Loved
good,
Boss
man.
Stones,
So
Loved
good.
Them. And
so
Op Ivy and just all sorts of stuff. Yeah, so I'm having fun rediscovering a bunch of this stuff. And Mephistopheles, that's one that our fans might like. Yep. That is the quote unquote satanic ska band. It's more of like they're kind of like a heavy metal ska band.
Sure.
But they're a lot of fun as well. They do a great Bumblebee Tuna theme song. Right. That's what they're probably most well known for.
Right.
But just, a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of bouncing and just happy, good energy, positive energy and swing.
That's what it's all about, man. Like, I think to really get a ska band, you got to see them live because it's all about just a party and a good time.
And it's also a lot about ska as far as its political quote unquote political undertones in movement about how bringing groups together, and especially when in England when the second wave kind of really became big, with like the Specials and like
great stuff, man. Yeah,
with the African and Jamaican and island Caribbean, those communities with the white communities there, the English white communities, whatever, how
the original skinheads, right?
Who were not the racist ones, but the ones that were fighting racism because they were fighting the neo-Nazis there. But yeah, so so it's just unity, so it's about unity and it's about fun, and it's just a melting pot. And that's why there's a two-tone with everybody looks good like that. So yeah, man, it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
That's what I'm setting my summer course on. Be bouncing along down the road. I
love it. I love it, man. That's awesome. Yeah, you brought up a band, Operation Ivy, man. I mean, that was a band that, they were, gosh, man, on the beginning of that third wave. They were the ones that were really, pushing. Of course, that's Tim Armstrong from Rancid. One of his first bands.
Yeah,
but,
one of the early ones.
For all that stuff, man, from the San Francisco Bay Area at that time, man, I'm such a big fan of all those bands from around that time. So I'm a huge Sam I Am fan. They're not a ska band, but a lot of great punk bands from that area.
So make your summer, if you want to join me, make it a ska summer, and I
love it.
Crank up some horns.
It's great. Wonderful, man.
And speaking of horns and dancing and swinging and a lot of fun, our guest today, they are telling stories. I'm trying to find a segue here, but
it's great. No, that's great. That's good.
They've got some. Their story takes place in the land of horns and jazz.
That's right. We're going to New Orleans. That's right.
We're going to New Orleans.
Yeah.
It took us we took the long way around to get there, but yeah.
That's right. And which is another great, fun place to be in the summertime, for sure, man. New Orleans is such a great town, and so it's your friend from your time in the Carolinas, and
my friend Erin and her friend Annie.
Yep. And so they came on, and man, just had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with them.
Yeah, it was a great interview, great stories told off and on air, and some really cool stories of spooky stories of high strangeness and all of that in New Orleans. You get the boo because it's spooky. It's boo. So,
more stories about New Orleans, man.
I know, right? Surprisingly, there's stories that come out of weird things happening there. I've never heard it before, but
yeah, no kidding.
All right, well, hey, Erin, Annie, thanks for joining us. What's your weird story?
As any good story starts, there was a Craigslist listing, and I got kind of like squirrely and weird one night because I just moved out of my old house, and I was like desperately trying to get rid of like unwanted objects. And I'm a marketing person, so my marketing brain was like, how do I make the like headlines captivating? So I was like, I'm gonna list this as haunted. So haunted flimsy mirror from Target, originally purchased for $25. Selling it for $60. Sold. Haunted mirror. Easiest money I've ever made, but also I'm a little bit sad to be telling this right now because now my secret's out. There is my $1 billion business idea.
Putting your marketing secrets out of the bag. Now I feel like an idiot because I thought it was actually haunted, and I was like, oh my god, Erin, what's the ghost like?
Yeah, see that? Me too, right? I saw that. I saw the same listing, and I was like, what? Haunted? Whoa! Wait a second here. And and I sent Erin a message, and she's like, nah. or actually, I saw a follow-up post is like saying, that's totally bullshit, but I sold it anyway.
That's hilarious.
I think it was that we definitely have like in my family antiques that we like joke are haunted. Like the guest bed at my mom's house gives everyone bad dreams because it's creaky and old. Died in it. So like,
okay, Annie. First of all, that's goth as fuck. That's totally on brand for you. Third of all, like this thing that I was trying to sell as a haunted mirror was like something I bought at Target in like 2018, circa like Columbia Heights Target, where they would just like pretend to scan something and be like, "Nah, girl, this didn't scan," and then they just give it to you for free. And that was my free haunted Target flimsy mirror that was not haunted at all. It had like, but I don't know.
Maybe it was.
it worked.
That's funny.
It could be. Certain people, including myself, are completely ghost blind. So it could be that it was haunted and you just don't know. Like I famously, one of our earlier guests, she had this apartment in Greenville, and she had to leave it. She moved out of it because it was haunted and it was freaking her out. And the whole, it was an old house that had been cut up into like 3 apartments. All of it was haunted. And so
that's what Annie is living in right now.
That's where we're shooting from right now.
There you go. So she moved out, and then the next person moved in, and nothing. Never saw a thing, never heard anything, noticed nothing. And the only reason I know that is because it was me. I moved in because she moved out because it was haunted. I moved in, it was nothing.
You're like, this is great real estate. Why'd you leave?
Right? It was stumbling distance from downtown. Yeah. So, I mean, and in Greenville, that's prime real estate. So.
Wait, what year was that, BB?
Probably 2002. About 2002. Yeah.
Did you have as a prolific beard then as you do now?
It was, yeah, I think it was. I think I started growing my beard out because of Hurricane Floyd. Was it Floyd that came through in '99?
Oh my God!
So you were born with that beard?
Pretty much. But yeah, we got. I was in Greenville and we got stuck without power and water, and we didn't have water for like 2 weeks, so I couldn't shave. And so I just started. I had a goatee at the time, but I started growing it all out because I don't like shaving, but also I look really good with a big beard. So
ahead of your time.
Yeah.
So I had a big vibe in 2002. Yeah. So what Erin was saying is that I actually am living in an old house. It's about 100 years old. The land it's on is older. And it's chopped up into 4 apartments plus an attic.
You have to say chopped.
Chopped. Yeah. And it's next to the cemetery.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Which was on purpose, so we have lots of extra parking.
Wow. Damn. So you've witnessed.
One person died in here, but not here. Where I live.
You've witnessed these ghosts.
Not here.
Okay.
I don't think this house is haunted, but Erin and I also disagree about whether we saw ghosts in New Orleans. I say yes. Erin says no.
I had ghost vibes.
Erin says ghost TBD.
Ghost TBD, like hashtag ghost TBD.
I left and I called like my most Catholic grandmother and like told her all about it, and she was thrilled.
Nice.
All right, so that leads us into the story that you do have, the larger story. So it's a nice natural segue there. So tell us this haunted tale or not.
Okay, I'll start.
Yeah, I don't know where you want to start this because this whole weekend was creepy.
Well, that's actually a good place to start. The whole weekend was creepy, but I'm down in New Orleans with my girlfriend Annie. We've been friends like since sophomore year of college, so that's like a gajillion decades for me. And our other friend Len, and
It was like a 30th birthday, post-breakup, cheap flight. Like, everyone wanted to get out of town.
Well, some people
Ready to party.
Yeah, everyone's life was kind of shit. So we were like, let's go to New Orleans.
It was the perfect storm.
The perfect storm.
You get a cute little Airbnb.
Like, what year?
It was like 2 years ago. It was right before my 30th birthday.
Yeah. Okay.
Pre-coronavirus world. We flew on planes.
Wow.
We went we crossed state lines.
Pre-corona.
I ate red beans and rice out of someone's truck.
Nice.
We're not gonna talk.
I'm guessing that's a food truck, by the way, not just some random.
It was like a van.
Yeah, Annie was like, "Let's go hang out with these guys in the back of this van that there's chicken out of," and I was like, "Yeah." NOLA, YOLO, let's go hang out in the back of the chicken van.
So we go into this weekend kind of being like, I know I went specifically because I'd never been to New Orleans before, and I was like, I want to go on a ghost tour, I want to go to a cemetery, I want to see some fucking ghosts. Can we curse?
And
Yes.
we also want
Yes.
to do like,
You absolutely can.
Cool.
we also want to do like magic, voodoo, like Marie Laveau, like the premier witchery.
I think we all wanted to go to a magic bookstore, and we were like, where would we find one of those in the $60 to $100 flight range?
Yeah.
And not New York.
So in one of our first nights of going out in New Orleans, like we like went and we like listened to awesome music, and like we drank like all of the cocktails and like whatever, and like we're all girls that know how to like handle ourselves in clubs. There was a certain amount of like hungoverness that precipitated that really great jazz dance. Let's wear 5-inch platform heels and pretend it doesn't affect us at age 30.
I did not do that. I wore Birkenstocks.
Like, you're the smart one of us. So.
Not really. My feet got really dirty. They were real
yeah, I thought with like 5-inch platform heels, I'd be like protected from the slime, and then they broke, and that's a whole other.
So we go out. We wake up the next day. We're like, we need to get all our tourist stuff in because we're hungover and we're only there for the weekend. And we're like, we're gonna go do some touristy stuff.
Because at our core, like, we're nerds. Like, we might be, like, cool party girl, whatever, but, like...
I was going to be pissed if we didn't go to I wanted to go to a historic site.
Historic.
Could have gone on more tours, and I would have been...
That's our core. The party girl, like, is an afterthought. We want to see, like, very good architecture and do, like, creepy, like, historic... tours of like voodoo witcheries.
And we were staying in this really scary, it wasn't scary, that's not correct. It was an Airbnb that was it was like a shotgun duplex, and we had half of it, and it had all sorts of like creepy architecture features, like every room ran into the other, and they had like leaded glass windows that like slid open and closed by the doors. It was really cool.
And I think that's what led into us pranking each other about the ghosts.
So the first night before we go out, we're divvying up the beds. There's like a normal bed, which Erin gets, and there's 2 creepy twin beds, of which I can only compare them to like a child's orphanage size. They were like rickety, and they were like metal, and they were not like human adult size. So Lynn and I are sleeping in those, and we're getting ready to lay down, and I'm like, Lynn, do you feel little kid fingers on your feet?
Ghost children.
And then Lynn was like, no, Annie, don't be dumb. And then Erin was like, I feel them in the bed with me. And then we kept doing that like all weekend, just to kind of like scare each other and just like be, you know, a little bit jerks, because we were all like in the same bedroom area and just like, you know.
Sure.
Little did Annie know, in the middle of the night, I stuck my cold paws up against her toes and was like, I am the ultimate ghost child. I was the next bedroom.
Did I even wake up?
And in a shotgun style house.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes it ultra creepy.
Yeah, nowhere to hide.
Anyway, okay. So we had this like intensely like amazing night out in New Orleans, and then the next morning we were all feeling a little worse for the weather. And all I remember of this is like we wanted desperately to go on like a cemetery tour. Lynn highly recommended as like a hangover beverage to do like a pint glass full of like seltzer water with like an abnormal amount of aromatic bitters.
This changed my life.
Wow.
Yeah, and honestly, like
It's so good. It's like weird licorice soda.
Wow.
it's just
Like licorice soda.
disgusting.
No, it's
when you
delicious.
say it like that.
Delicious.
But
And we were all dying because it was somehow still like 104 degrees out.
yeah. If it's 104 degrees out and your soul is desiccating and you need a hangover pickup beverage, I do highly recommend like shredded ice with like club soda and then aromatic bitters, like whatever. Okay, so anyway, onto scene. We're like touring the famous graveyard in New Orleans with like our aromatic bitter club soda hangover cure concoctions, and we like blah blah blah. There's a very entertaining tour host, and he makes all the tasteful jokes. And like, I don't know why he has a British accent, because he definitely didn't.
It was great.
New Orleans, and like. Anyway, we end up at Marie Laveau's tomb, and we all three made a wish. And did not all three of our wishes come true? Go, Danny.
Oh, they did.
They did.
So you remember this differently than me. Like I remember going to the tomb and doing like the knocking thing. They're like, you can't write on the tomb anymore because it's like bad vibes. But you're supposed to like knock on it, turn around 3 times, and then like say what you want your wish to be.
Yeah,
So-
they turned around 3 times. Yeah.
So I remember doing that, and I remember taking a lot of pictures of you and Lynn doing that. But I also remember later we went to the Marie Laveau Museum, and they had like a legit, like an area where you could leave offerings and write your little wish on them.
Wow.
So I remember us doing that there and making our
That, no, you're right. So
Okay.
like,
and that it was like write
we
it in there,
wrote it
dump all
down.
your change into this like dead tree stump covered in like jewels, and it was really cool. So we all 3 do our wishes, and I think Erin, you wished for like professional success or something, like you wanted a job thing. No? Am I remembering that wrong? Lynn wanted to know the skinny about this relationship and
I
cat
drew
game.
the biggest, happiest, creepiest smiley face that I could derive from my brain on a little piece of paper, and I was just like, and then I wrote, I wish for happy, and that's like, it sounds like the most like serial killer wish ever, but like, a wish for happy. Oh my god, I think the sound just went out.
No, you're good.
Oh.
That's a good wish.
Yeah, we got
I think I wished for something like that. I was just like getting out of a bad relationship and like freaking out about my birthday and like all these like end of your 20s kind of like crisis drama that like seems so silly now, but like at the time I was like really looking for direction, whatever. So that's kind of what I put in. And then our friend Lynn asked for like some clarity in her relationship. She'd been with this partner for a couple of years, and they were trying to decide if they were going to do immigration stuff so her partner could stay in the country. And she was like real torn up about that.
And
they're
they're married.
They're married now, so there's a happy ending.
All right.
Yeah, so she got to marry like her like dream girl, and like all the other stuff worked out. Anyway, so like Maria
we do this.
Laveau-
Three bougie bishops playing with the dark arts. We do
that
this,
was
and then
amazing.
yeah. So we do this. We leave the graveyard, and I think we went to the museum after because we were like, I have to know more. And I love a gift shop. I was like, I want a mug. I want a mug with her face on it. And then we decided y'all, the two people on this trip with me were somebody from DC and a New Yorker, so they wanted to walk everywhere.
Yeah.
We, no joke, walked like 30 miles a day. It was horrifying.
Yes.
I've never been so sweaty in my life. I did
But
not bring...
honestly, we now can say we can have one of those like marathon stickers on our car because we walked 2 marathons in a row.
But we were drinking the whole time because
honestly,
such
I think me and Lynn were trying to outwalk each other. We're like, how city are you?
I was like,
this is DC. Let's go.
I was like, can we take a lift to this bar? I'm sweaty. My feet are sweaty. I don't want to be here anymore.
and I'm like, no, it's only like 6.5 miles. We're fine.
On like not sidewalks, like in the road.
Hey, Barry, do you know what's coming up?
I think something pretty special, right?
I kind of think it's pretty special. Very soon, our 100th episode.
Wow.
That's right, Weirdsville. 100 episodes of the What's Your Weird Story podcast. 100 regular episodes have come out, and we want to hear from you. If you would like to call into the hotline and wish us a happy 100 episodes, just say something in your message or whatever, tell us how we're doing or whatever. We ask you to please do that, and we will include it in the show. That hotline is 513-909-9821. That's 513-909-9821. I forgot to do it in the radio voice the first time.
So what I remember as being the spookiest part of this trip is that we decided to go to the park, which is, I think, is it like Louis B. Armstrong or something like that? It's a really old park. It's about as old as the city of New Orleans was incorporated. And it used to be where enslaved people would get, the Sunday afternoon off, and you could go have your religious practices. So now in kind of like the current milieu, it's like voodoo tourist land. I was like, I want to see some people draw some cool shit. I wanted to see some dances. I wanted to see some chickens get maybe not their heads cut off, but I was hoping there would be like some chicken accessories in there. I wanted to so now that we had like spent all day like hearing about it and going to the museum, I was like, I want to see it in real life. So we go to this park and we're walking around and we see kind of like it's kind of more of like a performance piece than anything else, but there's like a live band and a bunch of performers, and they're kind of doing some sort of like huckster, like give me money kind of vibe. I gave everyone I saw who was busking in New Orleans money, and everyone on the trip told me I was dumb, but I was like, if they're good, it's unethical to not give them money. So I was like, I'm not leaving this town first. So walking around this park, and creepy shit starts to happen. Erin, do you remember this?
Okay, can I pick up on the creepy shit part?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Did my video rejoin the video?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So I will pick up on what I remember, like the post-busking part, because this post-busking part, like the reason I got super over it super fast is like someone started getting like really aggro with us, and we'd given them $5 and they were like, no more. And I was, again, I don't know why I went to the British accent, but like they were like, give us more. You've been watching us. And I was like, okay, we've been watching for 2 minutes. We're going to give you $5. That's better money than, like that's pretty good. I don't know. Like we're just trying to pass and go. And they got super aggro with us and like started like confronting us and like doing like the thing and like so we were super.
You can't see the dance move, but it was really good.
Yes.
That one. Yep.
Honestly, like if anyone ever wants to fight me, doing it via dance is the way to do it.
Crumping would be the way to do it.
Although I think that was some classic 1989 Rhythm Nation Janet Jackson moves going on right there. So I could be wrong.
I mean, I don't know. They're trying to front. It was a lot of these like.
Yeah. At that point, all of the stories that people had told us when we all three to our individual social groups were like, we're going to go to New Orleans and we're going to go like as 3 girls and like walk around, and like they were all like, New Orleans is so dangerous and like you will definitely get kidnapped, and we were all like, Pshaw, we're adults. We are streetwise city slickers. I'm not, but like you guys were like, it's fine.
I also like I want to like include like a slight description of Lynn, who is like our other friend on this trip.
She's actually like from North Carolina too. Lynn is from Kinston, I want to say. Some of us. Yeah, way.
No, I thought she was from Virginia, or like she looks like a deep.
Nah, girl.
Lynn, like I'm just gonna flat out just level this. Like Lynn is like the coolest. She like used to be like an MTV or MTV producer. She's married to the girl of her dreams.
She has actually worked on she has worked on ghost hunting shows. So we were like,
all right.
Actually, I don't think she did it until after this trip. But now I'm like, telling me all the secrets, and she's like, it's a lot of video of dolls not moving, and I was like, illusion shattered.
Yeah, I've always suspected.
Certain ones for sure.
Yeah.
You know, well, it's certainly they're played up for television for drama effect, you know, but still, I mean, they're entertaining. Ghost Bros, especially
Ghost Brothers is my favorite.
Those guys are so entertaining because
I unironically love them and would love to meet them in person.
Wait, Annie, is that the one you've been texting me about?
Yes. Yes, because I love the concept. I love their practice. I love all 3 of them are fly gentlemen from Atlanta. Everybody looks fresh. Everybody has good outfits.
They're all their fresh tap out shirts and everything. Yeah, no, they're
fresh tap out shirts. It's so much more endearing somehow.
Yeah, no, they're like that's. Events. I mean, they're bros. You know, they're like
they deserve to blow up. They're amazing. And they are very much into putting on costumes and like provoking the ghosts. It's great.
Yeah, they're big time into provoking ghosts, which you know is not what I get. Even though I'm ghost blind, I still would not do.
Adam, I still want to. I at some point want to dive into how you're ghost blind, but I get the sense that we're making Barry's editing job very difficult here. So I want to jump right into like.
Oh yeah, spooky shit. The reason we're here.
The reason we're here. Because
look, this is what it's like. This
was just set up.
It's all, but look, that's what it's like. This is about just people talking and telling stories and having a good time. So
Erin's out of wine.
It's there's not a whole lot of editing, honestly. Yeah. We like it to be.
Annie.
Girl, did you start that wine bottle at the beginning of this? I'm proud of you. Proud of you, man.
Okay.
Here's how good a friend Erin is. When I arrived in New Orleans, she greeted me at the front door of our Airbnb with potato chips and an open bottle of wine with a glass already poured for me.
Perfect. That's a good friend.
Really?
Yeah, you did. My heart exploded. I was like, this woman is nicer to me than like my ex-boyfriend who I had just broken up with in 7 years. Yeah.
I want you to know that everyone should always greet you with like snacks and a beverage.
For real.
And that is like a Southern like value that like no one should ever not do.
We also had a potato chip tasting night on this trip. It was a great night. We got every kind of chip there was at the convenience store, and there were like 900 kinds of Zappos. I was so happy. Like
it's like
gator flavor.
Voodoo Zappos, the like New Orleans kettle style Zappos, the Gator Tater New Orleans.
It was such a good day.
Okay. We did some really good eating in New Orleans, but to the topic at hand.
BRB ghosts.
Our most haunting. the ghost children.
This wasn't too scary because it was during the day.
Well, no, that's what made it more scarier.
That you thought this was scarier because it was during the day? Anyway.
Fucking Lily.
We're three hungover ladies walking through the park, and we're like, look at this mountain. These trees are great. And we were low-key trying to find, like, something else to go look at because these, like, the New Orleans people had chased us away because we weren't tipping enough. And I was like, that's fair. So we're walking around, and there's like a beautiful statue, and there's like a big lake that we're like really hot and nasty. So we're like, we'll walk close to the lake and maybe be like slightly less sweaty.
Wait, can I jump in at like where there's the couple?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm not trying to interrupt you, Annie. I want to make sure that like all of the haunting parts of the haunting are there.
We should have storyboarded this first because some things I remember more than others.
Well, I'm going to start with the like couple that were dressed as clowns that were playing strange instruments near the sidewalk in the park, and they were like.
So we had seen so many weird things in New Orleans that everything in this story we kind of just accepted as like more weird performance art, which has gotten both of us into trouble before, but like never in such a concentrated period that there were so many weird things, people, circumstances, encounters in this one park. And there was creepy music the whole time, which was the best part.
That's the key part.
Yeah, talk about the scary music, because these guys were playing instruments, but like I don't remember their instruments being what we heard.
That's when it started, though. It's like
they had like a trumpet or something, and this was like a hurdy-gurdy.
It was no hurdy-gurdy.
It was a hurdy-gurdy,
but like. There were distinct sounds within the hurdy-gurdy that started right there. And it was like trumpet sounds, sounds. So like all of that together was like a haunting melody that started then. When we saw that couple by the lake.
We're walking around this big park. There's a lake in the center. It's maybe like, it's not even a quarter of a mile square. It's pretty small. So we're walking around this lake, and it's like beautifully landscape architected, and it's got like, hills and shit you can hang out on. So we walk past these instrument people, and I'm like, man, we're seeing so much music for free. Like, I'm thrilled because I'm like, sweet, we didn't have to buy a ticket. And they didn't chase us asking for tips. And we keep walking, and we keep hearing this music, but it kind of sounds like it's coming out of someone's like pocket or brag or something. Like, it sounds like it's right on top of us.
It sounds increasingly metallic, intense.
Yeah. It goes from like a pleasant trombone outside, like, New Orleans rice-a-roni flavor, whatever. And it starts to sound, I remember it sounding like a hurdy-gurdy, but kind of like made completely of metal, like some kind of nightmare instrument.
A nightmare instrument.
And we kept seeing more weird shit in that park.
And we couldn't get out of the park.
We couldn't find the exit to the park. We kept walking around these buildings, and the path would just end, and then you would be like up against like a falling down building. And this is like in the middle of New Orleans. Like the French Quarter is like off to the right, and cemeteries are also close. Like we walked. We didn't take any cars anywhere.
So this is like a beautiful, gorgeous, sunny, blue sky, green grass day. And then,
I want to talk about the white lady.
What about the gray man?
I don't remember the gray man. I remember a white lady, and I thought she was great. No.
And he dipped his jug in the basin.
Oh my god, that was so fucking scary. So we're walking around these buildings that we're probably not supposed to be in, but we're like, where the fuck is the door? Maybe it's by these buildings. Like, maybe there's a fence here. And we're walking, we're following this, like, it's not really a path, but it's like an artificial lake, so we're like, it has to end somewhere. And we come around this corner, and this guy comes out of one of these falling out buildings, and at first we're like, oh, maybe he works here. But he is not wearing, like, a Park Service outfit or anything that would look like a uniform. He is wearing like raggedy clothes. Like he is wearing clothes. He is wearing clothes that look like they have been around and on his body for like years. They're just like greasy and kind of just like, they look like the folds have crud in them. And he comes out, and he's got, like, a wooden-ass bucket. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, New Orleans is weird. Is this another fucking actor? And he comes out, and he's, like, dipping water in this lake. And I kind of wanted to be like, dude, there's chemicals in there. And he looks at us, and he doesn't say anything. And we're clearly, like, lost, weird, wearing funky outfits, not from here. Like, and he just, like, looks at us, and he just, like, turns around and walks away. Doesn't say anything.
That's wild.
Yeah. So I did not
that was the great man.
He was just a jerk.
That was the great man.
That was the great guy. Do you remember the white lady?
I'm going to add one more comment about the great man.
One more comment about him.
Is that, Amy, you said he was carrying like a wood bucket?
I thought he had a wood bucket, yeah.
In my memory, he was carrying one of, like, those yellow jugs that you see in, like, Africa doesn't have water and they have to walk really...
Jug?
No. A big plastic jug.
Oh, I don't remember it being plastic.
No,
because I was like, he must work here. And then I was like, why does he have only olden-timey shit on him? What a fucking weirdo.
Well,
and then I was like, why would I judge? I, like, also am wearing a costume here.
Well, Amy was wearing, like, a very, very, very good outfit on this day.
Great outfit.
Amy, like, I'm so glad you're here, because, like, this is crazy, because in my memory, he was wearing...
When I heard you were coming here, I was like, completely different memories of this.
I think we can understand why, you both were drinking all day. You were in New Orleans.
No, we weren't drinking all day. That's the thing, is we were completely sober at this point.
We were getting ready to drink. Actually, I think at some point we had been like, we wanted to go to this bar, and I was like, we'll cut through this park. Like, we were like, this logic sort of makes sense. And I was very tired, and I did not want to walk anymore because I had already walked for 2 days.
There was the gray man who was seriously like scooping up water from like this like non-drinkable source of water in this park, and then
they didn't yell at us.
This park. That's where the story continues. This is like the hauntingness of hauntingness.
Leaving, I was taking pictures the whole time. My pictures actually turned out great. I don't know if you were of the orbs or ghosts kind of vibe, but I did get like some amazing sun flares and lens flares out of those pictures.
Oh, cool.
They looked great. I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. So I was taking pictures the whole time and just kind of like looking out for cool things, because I was like, we're going near the French Quarter. I had like a list of, I'm a loser, so I had a list of houses that I wanted us to go see.
Cool.
I was like, I want to take pictures here and here. I want to go to Trent Reznor's house. I want to go to the house for American Horror Story. I like had a whole list. So we're walking around. I have my camera out, and we're talking about how much we love New Orleans' like open container laws. We're like, this is so civilized. I love that I don't have to chug my drink when I leave the bar. We can just walk away, and then it's like you're also hydrating. And I'm shooting, so I'm closest to the street, and Lynn is like walking along the edge of the lake, and Erin is like maybe somewhere behind us, and I'm shooting Lynn like with the water falling behind her, and it's like beautiful. There's a fountain and shit, and I see this lady walking around with no shoes on, and I'm like, oh my God, that's so chill. I was like, man, she's like really confident. She knows where she's going. And she had on this like long white dress. I was like, what a great maxi dress, but it definitely like was long and flowy and shit. And she had a big glass in her hand, like a rocks glass. And then she had a white dog with her, and they were just like all walking in like sync and unison. And I was like, oh my God, she's so cool. Like, I want a dog that will like walk beside me without a leash and like not run away. And I want to like carry my rocks glass and walk barefoot through parks. And I remember seeing her, and like they were on the other side of the water behind like Erin and Lynn, and I was like, man, that dog is so cool. But I think everyone else was kind of like having their own weird park journey. So I don't even know if they saw her. But when I put it all together, I was kind of like, this is a park, but it's like not really like a park that is clean and doesn't have, trash and glass in it. So I was like, who would walk barefoot through this? Like, no one's that weird. And her dog never moved without her. So I was also like, okay, that's a little weird. And the fact that they all were kind of like, the lady was white, her dress was white, her hair was blonde, and like the dog was white too. So that was my like lady in white experience in this park, which is kind of cool. Not a classic lady in white, but like kind of more like a lifestyle to emulate if she was real.
Right.
Yeah, well, but that's still, I mean, that seems like it could be something supernatural. It could be something, I mean, certainly out of the ordinary.
If it wasn't supernatural, then it was a really weird lady that I wish I had gone up and talked to. The shit. Like in the middle of a Tuesday, so I'm like, maybe it was somebody really weird and rich from the French Quarter, just like wondering what they're drinking their dog. I don't know.
Yeah,
it could be. I mean, New Orleans is full of characters.
Yeah,
so much of this trip I didn't really think was like spooky or creepy until I started talking to Erin and Lynn and being like, hey, something kind of weird happened. Do you remember this? What do you remember about it? Because I just kind of went down there assuming everyone was going to be like in an Anne Rice novel and like weird, wearing a costume, And I mean, I was kind of proven right, but we also a lot of really weird stuff that I've only ever heard in like quote unquote haunted places. In this park in particular, I kind of felt we kept getting lost, right? So for some of this was like coming to a new city lost, but some of it was like spatial disorientation lost.
Yeah.
Which is something that a lot of my family is kind of Hainty. Like, like we're Irish, so we're like, we call each other when we have dreams about things.
Right.
So one of the things that struck me the most about everywhere we went in New Orleans was that I kept feeling kind of like seasick or a little like disoriented, like kind of like my inner ear was off. And like now that I've kind of done haunted kind of things with more intention, I've come to recognize like that's the spooky vibe. That's the spooky feeling. When I feel that, like when the air is so like tense and close, like that's kind of like what I affiliate with something I can't see but I can feel.
That's really cool.
Interesting.
Yeah. And that park was a big one.
The way you guys have described it, it does seem like that, again, that could be something. I mean, you're in New Orleans, which is full of just all sorts of weird energies and all sorts of, weird and interesting people. And, just going there is an adventure. I mean, we all know that just culturally around the world, everybody knows that New Orleans is this weird, spooky, fun, crazy place, but like, it seems like that particular park, it seems like there is possibly something magical that maybe you were seeing things that were just not necessarily what they appear to be on the surface, but who knows?
Yeah.
I went to New Orleans expecting like Haunted Mansion style spooky hijinks, and it ended up being I'm not like one of the experiences in my life that I look at and I'm like, okay, you can't perceive everything. Science has limitations in what we can measure and organize. It's always been like this. Can we look at our perception between individuals, like between me and Erin or between me and Lynn, and say, we don't know what we saw, but we saw something or we felt something.
Right.
So Erin, do you want to talk about how we started getting creeped out by this music that none of us thought we could hear?
So we left the park because we were trying to escape the sound, and we ended up in all over New Orleans. Like, we went to the Garden District. We were looking at houses. It was around Halloween time.
Oh my God, we saw the best haunted houses.
And we were all over the town, and we just kept on hearing the same tune.
It's kind of like when you get a song stuck in your head, but it happened for 3 different people, and we all were like,
and
as we kept walking, we would be like, "Oh, that ice cream truck has shitty music." Or
Well, it's like, I kept on using it. Like, I mean, I kept on, like, I thought I was singing something, or, like, but then Lynn would bring it up, and, like, then you would bring it up, and then, like, we were all trying to be really cool about it, but it was just like, following us.
You're cool enough, the ghost won't get you.
Well, like, and it would fade away. Like, Annie, like you mentioned earlier, like, we walked like 26 miles that day. It was insane. Right, so we kept on hearing it all around New Orleans, like the same like haunting metallic tune, like.
It was like a hurdy-gurdy and a synthesizer had a really cool baby. I would listen to the shit out of that. It was really, like, at the time, it was really creepy. Because we kept walking, and it kept, like, at one point we were trying to, like, hoof it and, like, get away from the park, because we were like, maybe it's just some weirdo in the park. And it stayed the same distance from us, so we were like, no! After a while, we just kind of, like, rolled with it, and we were like, if this is something scary happening, like, at least there's 3 of us. Like, nobody can really discount, like, one person who, like, you know, is susceptible to impulses and stuff. I was like, at least my friends are just as creeped out as I am. That's what I was the most happy about.
That, and then I was back in D.C. like a month later, and I heard the same hurdy-gurdy tune, and I realized that's just like the generic humdrum of an ice cream truck, and like that explains why it followed us around New Orleans, and it was like fading in and out. Like, that's the end of the story.
Yeah, so that's kind of our whole story.
Cool.
We had some more creepy stuff happen to us, but nothing with like as much of a narrative as that one. And I think I went on this trip being like, I'm the spookiest one. By that meaning, I wanted to go on the most ghost tours.
Right.
And then Erin was like media, and then our third friend, like, ghosts aren't real. And then we left kind of all being pretty, not really, like, definitely discomforted and kind of feeling like we had some sort of weird experience that we couldn't really explain. Lynn and I were there for an extra day, and we went to a couple other places. We ended up going to our magic bookstore, which was amazing. And it had this big shrine outside, and it was a shrine to, like, I can't remember, but it's the voodoo and equivalent to, like, Mary Star of the Sea, which is like the Virgin Mary. And it was like this giant cool, like, art piece that was like driftwood and like things from the ocean. And when we left, I was like, did you feel that church feeling? Which by that I mean kind of like tight and just like the kind of like the atmosphere and like the closeness that we felt walking around that park, which is like a weird fucking thing to feel outside.
Yeah.
And like we were in a warehouse, so it's kind of like, what is this? Why does it feel like we're in a closet? So, and we left and we were like, yeah, that was weird. That was like the creepiest Catholic church I've ever been in, but it was not a Catholic church. It was a shrine.
You know what's wild is when I was down there a couple of years ago, I took my family down there and we went to the same cemetery that you went to. And there's that Catholic church that's across the street. Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't know if you ever noticed it. So. But we had to take, and we could have got bamboozled, I don't know. But we were told that we had to hire or pay someone to take you in to the cemetery. And so anyway, this really nice lady came out, and she actually worked for the church, and she gave us the tour. But she was really, and she was Catholic, and she was telling us, like, she's like, you know, here in New Orleans, like, it's not weird to be Catholic and still understand that voodoo is a thing and it's not a bad thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's that thing where in New Orleans where it's a real cultural melting pot, and so I don't know. It's just For anyone that's never gone to New Orleans, you gotta go because it's such an interesting place, and it is very steeped and it's heavy. There's parts of it where you're just like, you could just feel the history there, you know, and the denseness, like you were talking about, you know, even outside, like in that cemetery, man, it was just like so strange, man. It's just like all these hundreds of years of bodies and memories, and you know. And then you got Nicolas Cage's pyramid there in the center.
Oh my God, it's so great. I saw that and I was like, that's a great use of your $1 million, man.
I know, man. It's so great.
I see like luxury cars and I'm like, but I saw this and I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I think how New Orleans operates is you can't go in the cemeteries unless you have like some sort of like, it's certificate from the city that you're like not going there to chisel pieces off the grave or whatever.
Exactly.
You have to be supervised.
Yeah, because they're getting a lot of vandalism.
That's probably good because of so many historical vandalism. So
yeah, they told us all the stories about what's the biker movie where they do drugs and they go chill in the cemetery?
It's the
Two Lane Blacktop.
Yeah, it's with God dang it, man, Dennis Hopper.
It's got a Beach Boy in it. Beach Boy.
Is it? Oh my gosh, man! It's on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, it's.
Are you talking about Easy Rider?
Easy Rider. Easy Rider.
They go to Orleans and they have sex in the cemetery, and it's like, yeah, there was a whole nother trajectory of this trip we could have taken if we were like into Satanists.
Right.
Which, like, I'm from like the North Carolina punk scene, so I was kind of like, that could be cool.
Yeah.
But, like,
hell yeah.
we just didn't have enough time. There's so much cool stuff to look at.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, like Erin and I met in Wilmington, which is like a big tourist city. But all the townies are kind of like mean to the tourists there.
Yeah.
New Orleans, everybody was like really nice. And everybody was like, oh, you're from somewhere else. Where are you from? Here's where the good shit is. Here's the good drugstore. Like, here's where to go get good gumbo. Like, here's where the liquor is like 10 cents less. It's like, everybody was really friendly, and nobody told a lot of people our ghost story. And they were like, yeah, man, here's my ghost story. Like, everybody had another ghost story to bring to the table. It was pretty.
I'm sure.
Yeah, we've had some friends who are there in New Orleans currently, and man, they've got so many ghost stories and weird stories of all kinds from because they lived there, then they left for a while, and then they've gone back, and they just have Chad and Elsa. They just have a life full of high strangeness. Yeah, it's really cool. So
So now that's kind of I like meet you at a bar opener. I'm like, what's your ghost story? What's your tell me your paranormal encounter?
Right.
But I will say, like, New Orleans, people are like people will tell you it right after they tell you their name. You're like, we're staying in this part of town, and they're like, I saw a ghost of a horse and carriage, and nobody had their heads when I was waiting for a taxi. Like, people are just so chill about it, and it's kind of nice. Like, I've been to a lot of cities, and I always kind of do a ghost tour just because like they're usually pretty fun, get you oriented in the space. Yeah. But New Orleans people are just like, let it all hang out with their paintiness.
For sure. That's awesome,
That's
man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. And
thanks for listening to our weird story.
Yeah.
Say, Barry.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest job you've ever had?
That's a good question. It would either have to be the time that I worked at a cattle feedlot or the time that I worked for a Greek painter.
Were you model?
Not quite.
Well, you know, it's funny because one of my weirdest jobs was being a model in art school, but it was portraits, not full body nude. The reason I'm asking is because those jobs may be kind of normal, but we know people are out there that have weirder jobs than that. Maybe you're a mortician. Maybe you're a scientist trying to bring back the dinosaurs or the woolly mammoth.
That'd be cool.
That would be really cool. If you guys out there have weird jobs, unusual jobs, jobs. Crime scene photographer. Maybe you worked at an adult educational film set, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink. Just something that's unusual, out of the ordinary, and, a little bit weird. Hey, those are cool stories too. We'd love to hear those. So give us a call or an email or whatever. You know how to get a hold of us. Be part of the community of Weirdsville.
How big the shows in New Orleans you think when the Voodoo Glow Skulls would come to town and play? Do you ever listen to them? They're great, man.
Yeah.
They're great. I was privileged to be able to tour with those guys. It's great.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah, man. It's great, dude. Great stuff, man. Great stuff.
Any kind of spooky band that would go down there would definitely, draw out.
Yeah.
Because, and New Orleans it's one of those things, because, it's got tons of goths.
Yeah.
And I'm talking old school goth.
Yes.
I'm talking about, people who are, witches and Wiccans and people who are, claim to be vampires or in their mind vampires, that dress like, they come from the, the turn of the century. They're not like, like the ones they're not like, quote unquote emo kids, which even if that's a bad term because everybody brings up the wrong kind of idea. They don't have the,
right.
Yes. Goth and emo are kind of like these genres and scenes that have been incorporated into describing groups that they're not really applicable to.
Right.
But that's a whole other discussion for another podcast.
That could be an hour-long discussion there. No, but that's right. But, it is something like with the voodoo and the thing in New Orleans that draws people there, and we've talked before about the culture there, just the spirituality that goes on there. And Erin and Annie were talking about their trip to the graveyard where Marie Laveau lives. It's like,
well, she doesn't live, but
I'm sorry. Well, her remains or whatever's left of her.
Maybe she does live.
Dude, it's creepy. It's a creepy place. We got to see it, and it was really. It's funny because they have a tomb that people thought that she was in, and then but they it was a dummy tomb to get people to not destroy her tomb, as it were, right. So but it's just so fascinating, man. It's just such a weird cultural thing that, like, unless you haven't experienced it, you got to go to New Orleans, man. You got to just get in there and see for yourself, because it's such a cool experience to go to those areas and check them out.
I've only been once, and that was just like a couple of months before Hurricane Floyd came in, and I didn't really have the full experience because I was with the band touring. Yeah. So we got there because I think we drove from like Jacksonville, Florida, or something. Yeah. Easy, long way. Yep. To get there. So we got there, and it was already in the evening, and it was just hot as balls. Yep. And it's muggy, and we played the show in somebody's garage, which is just like an oven. Yes. And then we went to this afterwards. We went to a bar down the street from where the show was, and it was one of those bars that basically doesn't close. So we were there very late. Yeah. And I ended up at 7 o'clock in the morning, or 6 in the morning, as the sun's coming up, laying the back of some guy's truck going down the highway. Yeah. And Sam, our lead singer, in the front talking to that guy. I don't know. I think I just accepted that I would get in the back of the truck because I was also holding a large, catering table sized tin of macaroni and cheese, making sure that didn't fly out while we're going down. So,
well, listen, if your first trip to New Orleans doesn't end in that way, you're not doing it right, man. Yeah. I mean, that's the way you do it as a young guy.
I miss Bourbon Street. I miss, the deeds. I miss a lot of that stuff. Right. But I did have that experience. So, right. And then apparently in the next morning, that guy that whose apartment we crashed at, Sam and I went to his place because he had AC, and that was the whole thing. And it was like 15, 20 minutes away from where we played. Everybody else stayed at the unair-conditioned house, and, hey, they didn't sleep well. I slept like a rock, so much that when the guy had an exterminator come in the morning to spray, they couldn't move me, so like the guy had to spray around me. I was just out cold. So.
Oh, that's great. That's great. But the point being is that everyone's got crazy stories when they go to New Orleans. It's just the way that it goes, and no exception to Erin and Annie. They had, again, and they even talked about it in the episode about how everyone in New Orleans that lives there has these stories, and it's not uncommon. And when you start talking to people around there and they tell you their crazy stories, everyone's got one, you know.
Well, hey, Erin, good talking to you, and Annie, thank you once again for joining us. Annie was a last-minute add-on, by the way. Erin, we were getting ready to talk to Erin, and we had to delay for a few minutes because I think Barry had an update and for his computer. We always have the updates before we have to do the interviews, like clockwork. That happens. That's
for sure.
But Erin said, hey, can my friend Annie join in? She was on, the trip with me, and I'm like, yeah, that's great. So we had her, and it was just a great compliment to have her along and share her experiences as well, and she really knocked it out of the park as well. So thank you both for joining us. That was a lot of fun, and we were in a lot of laughs, and it's nice to meet Annie, and good, like I said, good catching up with Erin. So
yeah, definitely. Thank you, girls. We appreciate it.
Yep. All right. Well, let's take this one to the park. I don't know not to the park. I don't know where. Let's finish it up here.
Let's do it.
Take it to the park. We'll take it to the park. We'll take it to the dog park.
Sounds
so it can do its business. And I don't even know anymore. But hey, in the meantime, stick around next week. We're going to have something fun for you. It's a surprise. So
even to us.
Even to us. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a good week, and we'll see you next time. Be safe.
Be weird.
As always, if you have a weird story, we want to hear it.
If you have a lot of them, we want to hear them all.
We can't do this podcast without your invaluable contributions.
Whether it's sharing your stories,
listening,
rating,
and spreading the word about the podcast. Thanks for listening. Till next time, be safe.
Be weird.
The stories presented on the What's Your Weird Story podcast are, to our knowledge, true experiences that our guests have had. We can't take the time to research all claims made, and besides, it's just not as fun.